The readings for Thursday, March 9th. The Matins Gospel reading is from the book of Luke, chapter 21, verses 12 through 19. But before all these things, they will lay their heads on you and persecute you, delivering you up to the synagogues and prisons. You will be brought before kings and rulers for my name's sake, but it will turn out for you as an occasion for testimony. Therefore, settle it in your hearts not to meditate beforehand on what you will answer. For I will give you a mouth and wisdom which all your adversaries will not be able to contradict or resist. You will be betrayed even by parents and brothers, relatives and friends, and they will put some of you to death. And you will be hated by all for my name's sake, but not a hair of your head shall be lost. By your patience possesses your souls. All right, footnotes from the Orthodox Study Bible. So for this exact passage, verses 12 through 19, it says that this passage is read on days commemorating holy martyrs. And looking at the Synaxarion, indeed, we commemorate today the 40 martyrs at Lake Sebaste, which I assume is why we are taking a break from the Old Testament readings, to get these readings out of the way. The epistle reading is from St. Paul's letter to the Hebrews, chapter 12, verses 1 through 10. Therefore, we also, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight and the sin which so easily ensnares us, and let us run with endurance the race that is set before us, looking unto Jesus, the author and finisher of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and has sat down at the right hand of the throne of God. For consider him who endured such hostility from sinners against himself, lest you become weary and discouraged in your souls. You have not yet resisted to bloodshed, striving against sin. And you have forgotten the exhortation which speaks to you as to sons. My son, do not despise the chastening of the Lord, nor be discouraged when you are rebuked by him. For whom the Lord loves he chastens, and scourges every son whom he receives. If you endure chastening, God deals with you as with sons. For what son is there whom a father does not chasten? But if you are without chastening, of which all have become partakers, then you are illegitimate and not sons. Furthermore, we have had human fathers who corrected us, and we paid them respect. Shall we not much more readily be in subjection to the Father of spirits and live? For they indeed for a few days chastened us as seemed best to them, but he for our profit, that we may be partakers of his holiness. All right, some footnotes from the Orthodox Study Bible. So for first things first, that phrase Paul's quoting, this is for whom the Lord loves, he chastens and scourges every sin. That can be found in Proverbs chapter 3, verses 11 and 12. Going back to verse 1, the cloud of witnesses includes not only the Old Testament saints mentioned in chapter 11, but also the saints and martyrs of the Lord in all ages. If they made it, so can we. We persevere by getting rid of sin, the weight which keeps us from heeding the truth, setting as our destination the heavenly city, running the race of faith, and keeping our attention focused on Jesus Christ, our Lord and King, as noted in chapter 12, verse 2. This race is not a sprint, but a marathon of endurance. It does not end until we fully enter the age to come. See 1 Corinthians chapter 9, verses 24 through 27. For verses 2 and 3, Christ is both the author, that is, the initiator, and finisher, that is, the perfecter of faith. His joy was to do God's will. He endured the cross in that he voluntarily accepted humiliation and death. We are to imitate his determination and perseverance. And for verses 4 through 11, so just one more verse past what we read here today. Unpleasant circumstances, which tempt us to complain, may be the chastening of the Lord, as noted in verse 5. If the loving discipline of our human fathers brought us to respect them, how much more deserving of respect is the discipline of the Father of spirits, as noted in verse 9, our Creator, whose breath gives us life, as noted in Genesis chapter 1, verses 26. Genesis chapter 1, verse 26, and chapter 2, verse 7. The liturgical gospel reading is from the book of Matthew, chapter 20, verses 1 through 16. For the kingdom of heaven is like a landowner who went out early in the morning to hire laborers for his vineyard. Now when he had agreed with the laborers for a denarius a day, he sent them into his vineyard. And he went out about the third hour and saw others standing idle in the marketplace, and said to them, You also go into the vineyard, and whatever is right I will give you. So they went. Again he went out about the 6th and 9th hour, and did likewise. And about the 11th hour he went out and found others standing idle. He said to them, Why have you been standing here idle all day? They said to him, Because no one hired us. He said to them, You also go into the vineyard, and whatever is right you will receive. So when evening had come, the owner of the vineyard said to his steward, Call the laborers and give them their wages, beginning with the last to the first. And when those came who were hired about the 11th hour, they each received a denarius. But when they first came, they supposed that they would receive more, and they likewise received each a denarius. And when they had received it, they complained against the landowner, saying, These last men have worked only 1 hour, and you made them equal to us, who have borne the burden of the heat of the day. But he answered one of them and said, Friend, I am doing you no wrong. Did you not agree with me for a denarius? Take what is yours, and go your way. I wish to give to this last man the same as to you. Is it not lawful for me to do what I wish with my own things? Or is your eye evil because I am good? So the last will be first, and the first will be last. For many are called, but few chosen. Right, one of the more powerful passages in the Bible. Let's hit some footnotes from the Orthodox Study Bible. So it looks like there's actually just one long footnote, and it's for this exact passage, verses 1 through 16. In this parable, the vineyard is life in this world. The day refers both to the span of a single person's life and to the whole of human history. The laborers are all the people in every nation. Each hour can refer to the times in a person's life, whether infancy, youth, adulthood, maturity, or old age. It also has a second meaning in the span of history, referring to those called during the covenants with Adam, Noah, Abraham, Moses, and finally Christ. God's generosity provides equal reward for both early and late comers. Jesus teaches that the former should not be proud of their long service, nor resent those called at the 11th hour. To the latecomers, he teaches that it is possible, even in short time or at the end of one's life, to recover and inherit everything. In the early church, this message applied specifically to the Jews, the first called, and the Gentiles, those called later. In our day, it can be applied to those raised in the church and to those who find the church later in life. both of whom receive an equal reward. St. John Chrysostom's renowned Paschal sermon is based on this parable, applying it to the preparations of each person in approaching the Paschal Eucharist. Well, that's going to be a wrap on today, everybody. Hope you have a blessed day. And as always, please just include me, a sinner, in your prayers. Thank you very much.